Hey everybody, I'm the Rusty Mechanic, and tonight I'm going to take a look at Newage H13C Lucifer, which is their rendition of Starscream from the Transformers G1 cartoon. The C in this model number does stand for cartoon, so it is supposed to be the cartoon accurate version, so we'll figure that out as we go through the review. I'm going to do the whole regular spiel, I'm going to do a quick unboxing here, and then we'll take a quick look over the alt mode, go through a transformation, and then take a good hard look at the alt mode to see if it is cartoon accurate or not. There is a large amount of accessories in here, so you can strap in for that as well. As you know, I have a love-hate relationship with accessories, so we'll see if there's too much, just enough, or just the right amount. And of course, I'm going to give a shout out to ShowZStore.com here, which is where I bought this figure. Please go ahead and check out their website if you're looking for anything Transformers related or any collectibles that you might be into. And if you are shopping there, you can use my code Rusty at the top of their website. They do have a support your favorite reviewer box at the very top of their website, and you can put my code Rusty in there, which helps to support the channel. And of course, I have to do my shameless self-promotion here. If you do like these videos, please go ahead and hit that like button down below. It sure does help out a lot. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well so you get notified every time that I release a new video on YouTube. You can also check the description down below for all of my social media platforms and other ways that you can help to support the channel. And with all that stuff out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, so we'll just take a quick look at the box as always. Just adjust my microphone here. So, top of the box is some nice box art. Overall, the box has, again, that nostalgic feel that we're used to from Newage with the grid lines like we used to see in the original Transformers toys from the 80s. Some additional artwork on the side of the actual figure in its different modes. And then the beautiful picture that's always on the back of the Newage boxes, where they're actually using their figures in this shot. So here's their version of Megatron and Soundwave in here, along with, classic scene of Starscream trying to end Megatron and become leader of the Decepticons. And let's go ahead and pop this guy open. So like I said, there's a lot of accessories that come with this guy. Two sets of instructions. I'll go over that later. So it's actually a double layer bubble packaging, standard bubble packaging from Newage, but the top half actually has the figure itself with some accessories, the null ray blasters, an alternate head sculpt, and some alternate hands. And then the bottom half actually has a space bridge. Oh, hold on. Everything's falling apart. Everything's falling apart. The review is already terrible. So it's got some additional accessories in here as well, which, again, we'll take a look at later, but some blast effects. And this is actually a space bridge / flight stand, and I'll get into the details on that later on. But for now, let's go ahead and get into the main figure itself. So when it comes in the box, I'll just take out these accessories with it because these are the alt mode accessories that come with it, and we'll take a look at that in a sec. The missiles for the alt mode and the alternate head are in a sealed plastic bag, which I cut open already. So obviously I could check everything out. And when you take him out of the box, his tail fins, the vertical stabilizers are folded down. So you just fold them up, as simple as that. And there you go. You have a very nice looking alt mode, I must say. There is some nice line details going on. It's very indicative of an F-15 Eagle jet fighter. It has the striping, right? On the wings, the blue tail fins. These are actually die-cast gunmetal gray engines at the back here, which is very nice. Whole thing's painted like the gray. This is all gray painted. It's not just plastic. The only thing that's not is the blue areas are just blue molded plastic. But again, it looks very, very nice. It's got some very nice coloring going on. A little bit of line paneling, but nothing grotesque, nothing horrible. Translucent yellow or gold for the cockpit, which is nice. And you can actually see there's some cockpit detailing in there. So it does look like a jet fighter when you're looking through the canopy, which is very, very cool. Underside, it cleans up really nice. Everything tucks away. As typical with any jet bot, you can obviously make out the torso, the arms, the legs, right? It's all kind of exposed, but it's all tucked away very nicely. Nothing grotesque hanging out. I think the only complaint I probably have with the alt mode is, and this, I'm just taking a look over at MP52. I can't see it because the fins are tucked away. I think MP52 or Deformation Space had this issue too, where, you know, the tail fins folded away, so they had these hinge points, and Newage has unfortunately done the same thing as part of the transformation, is the tail fins fold away inside the legs, so they needed a way to obviously fold it up. So you have these hinge points that are on the inside of the vertical stabilizer tail fins, but it doesn't look terrible. Like, this is not going to display terrible if you put that, you know, on the shelf like this, or if you use the space bridge as the flight stand. Landing gear, so it does actually have landing gear in it. So the front landing gear is actually in the forearm, and you just flip it out. And for the rear landing gears, you just need to pull what becomes the feet down, and then there's a tab or a notch right at the end there that just lets you flick these out, and then you can put the feet back. They're just pure plastic. Nothing's rolling here, right? But it does sit on the ground with the wheels down. This is one complaint I have, is the tail fins do have a tendency to fold over every time you touch the thing. You just happen to nudge them and they fall over. But that is what it looks like with the landing gear down. Nothing spectacular there. We'll fold all that away. So with all that, I'll just show off the missile cannons. So these are the missiles for the alt mode. So the null rays that go on his robot mod, they don't transform into these. So actually have a set of accessories for the alt mode and then a set of accessories for the robot mode, which is a little unfortunate. You know, it's one of those things where now you have extra accessories that you have to decide what you want to do with them, right? There's a peg, just goes into the peg hole that's in the bottom of the wing. And then you have that look, which is very cool. Again, very, very cartoon accurate from what we remember, or what I remember anyway, right? You can see the missiles just outside the wings, and they do fit in nicely with the alt mode, no matter which way you're looking at these. So let's go ahead and I'll just put these aside, and we'll go ahead and we'll go through the transformation. Again, very, very typical New Age stuff. It's a very simple, easy transformation, nothing overly complicated. And now that I've said that, now I'm trying to remember what the actual first step is. Right, so very embarrassing. I completely forgot how to start the transformation. It is with the feet. So you just fold these down. These are very stiff, by the way. It's just a pin, but they're very, very stiff. So you really have to work at them to get them to fold down. Then you want to break away the wings and just pivot them out like this. And then the arms. So the arms are a little tricky. They do just fold straight out. They pivot right here, and they just fold out at the elbow. But there's not a lot of clearance between where the forearm is and where the hip skirt is here. So you kind of have to force it out, which is a little irritating for New Age. But it doesn't take a lot of force, and it will just rotate out and rotate out like that. Do the same thing on the other side. And I will tell you that putting it back into alt mode, it is a bit of a fight to get the arms folded up properly. Just be gentle and work at it, and they do fit right back in there, no problem. So the forearms are actually open in this position, so it's just a matter of we're just closing up the forearm half onto the back there. I'll just show it again on this side. Literally just closing up the forearm just like that. Then you fold down the cockpit area, and as you fold it down, you'll notice that this back piece on the back of the figure flips out, which you want to get out of the way, because then you actually need to rotate it all the way around, because Starscream's head is right here and it needs to be flipped over 180 degrees. So you're just going to hold the cockpit while you rotate Starscream's head all the way around, and then you can bring the cockpit out to the front. Simple as that. The next part's a little bit tricky too. So his chest plate is actually the bottom half underneath the cockpit here. And as you can see, it's on like a double pivot joint here. And it's a little difficult to actually get this moving. You actually want to pivot the top half of it in to get the process started and not try to pull out from the bottom. So I've tried this a couple times on camera and I know my hands are going to get in the way. So I apologize for that, but I'll try. There we go. Right. So you want to flip it out like this, and then you can flip it up like that, and then just complete the rotation so that the chest is out. And I'll see if I can show the same process again. So apply pressure at the top to get it started, right? Pull it out from behind, and then there you have the chest. And then we need to get all of this stuff out of the way. So it starts with the nose cone. So the nose cone splits in half. Right back around like that. And then the front half of, or I guess the middle portion of what makes up the entire nose cone flips underneath. Again, it's a double pivot, so it flips underneath. These two tabs right here will actually go into these two slots that are in the back there. And I will tell you, getting it back there can be a bit of a struggle as well. Not a struggle, but it doesn't just pop in the way you would expect it. So you do need to fight with it a bit. And there it will click into place like that. So I struggled the first few times to get it past like the hip skirts, but you can push up on the chest to get it up out of the way, and then it will slide into place. You can take the two air intakes or his shoulder, whatever you want to call these, shoulder somethings, and they do tilt forward like that. That part at the back, you can pop in out of the way whenever you have all this put together. And then we move down to the legs. So, see, the stupid tail fins keep folding down. Anyway, sorry, little editing skip forward because I dropped this while I was moving to the next step. Anyway, the next step is actually the back. To unlock the back, it's actually these two panels here are actually tabbed into the legs. So you just flip these open like that, and it'll unlock the legs. Flip them around to the back, and so this entire portion is actually tabbed into the top of the legs here, and it's just on a double hinge. Does break free very easily with there's like a torso pivot that's happening, and the whole backpack does just flip up. Just watch the wings against the arms. You can actually get the arms up a little higher out of the way, but you are just pivoting this whole piece on that double hinge, and then this peg that's here goes into where the screw hole is, plugs in just like that, and then these two back panels that were locked into the hips, they just tuck away into the back like that. And then we can move on to the legs. So you can separate the legs at this point. They do actually pivot down if you want. I'm not sure why that's there. It's not in the instructions at all, and I find that it looks weird. So just be aware that the legs can pivot forward like that. I think it's actually part of the ab crunch. Anyway, if we come around to the back, you want to take the entire back panel here and flip it up. Now, when I was doing this the first few times, I found that it would get to about that far and stop, but it does actually go 90 degrees, and you do want it 90 degrees to get it out of the way. Fold down the tail fin underneath and then flip it up against the vertical stabilizer. Fold the vertical stabilizer across the back of the leg. This part is tricky. Let me see if I can show it from this side. So this ball joint that's on this piece here where the screw is. So this entire piece that the vertical stabilizer is sitting on, the ball joint, this actually rotates around 180 degrees, but you need to rotate this tail fin at the same time so that it maintains this position while you are rotating that piece around. So whatever way you can do that, and I find if you can start at the top here, get your fingernail in here to get this started, and then just keep rotating the tail fin around while you are maneuvering, showing the other side, while you're maneuvering this piece 180 degrees, so you end up like that. And the reason being is that the tail fin folds up and down and into the leg so that it closes off this part of the leg, and then the entire back part of the leg that you had up closes up to close it all in, and that's it. So I'll show it again from the other side. Hopefully this is pretty clear. So bring that up 90 degrees, fold this tail fin down underneath, fold it up against the tail fin. You could probably do that first if you wanted to, just to get it out of the way, and then fold it flat. And then, like I said, any way that you can get this started, it does rotate in, right? And again, you just need to maintain the blue part to continue to line up with the leg like this as you are continuing to rotate that piece around. Rotate this piece around, right? So that the tail fin ends up flush with the back of the leg, and then, or the side of the leg, and then the last half of the tail fin then just folds right into that spot there, and the leg closes up. And that's it. Like, that is the figure. If you bring the arm down, you do need to rotate the forearms, right? So the elbow joint is pointing forward. So you're rotating the elbow joint so it's pointing forward. And then, of course, you want to close up the wings. And there he is. There he is in all of his cartoon glory. Just like that. Perfect. I'll put the null rays on. We'll take a look at those two. Just here, there's a lot of nice detail in these null rays. You know, stuff we kind of remember from the cartoon, I'm sure, right? Long barrel fins, 1, 2, 3 fins, right? Kind of an exhaust port on the back, some venting in the middle. Like, there's some nice details going on. It does appear to be painted plastic as well, just the same as the figure. It does have a peg, and he does have the peg holes on the side of the arms, so they do just peg in like that, giving away some of the articulation there. He's very stable on his feet, by the way, which is nice to see, again, for a figure of this size. So there we go. So there he is with the null rays attached to the arms. I just said that he was very stable on his feet, and then he fell over there. I blame this mat that I use. Sometimes the figures don't stand up very well on this mat, but that's fine. Let's take a close look. Again, lots of painted details going on here, especially in the chest plate here, right? Like, this is all painted. Dark gunmetal gray, the stripes that are in here, the hip skirts, all the gray areas are painted. The blue part in the legs are also painted, with the exception of where the landing gears are. Like, that's just regular plastic. The forearms are not painted. Again, very cool head sculpt. Just trying to get some decent lighting on it there. Red eyes, like we remember from the cartoon. Very nice head sculpt. A little bit of a smile. The alternate head sculpt has, I'll just pull it up and show next to it, assuming I can get my thumb out of the way there. A little bit of a smirk face. And it very easily pops on, right? This is just on a ball joint. So you can... you can, you gotta, it's on there pretty good. It is just a matter of pretty much pulling it straight up and forward. And I know that that sounds weird. I'll double check later though. Maybe I'll add an edit into the end of this video. The side profile is very good. No weird gapping or anything. There is a little bit of gap on the at the bottom of the legs, but nothing too substantial. There is a slot there, right? So you can make sure that the leg is pressed all the way in, right, and then it closes up pretty good. Yeah, I did the same thing on the other side. So there you go. I mean, overall, this to me is fairly cartoon accurate, right? This is what we remember from the cartoon. I think the only two complaints I have about it is maybe the transparent yellow plastic here for the cockpit, right? You can still see all the details of the cockpit in there, which we've seen with other versions of Starscream throughout the years, right? Is we always seem to have this situation of nobody cleans this up enough. I think maybe, Takara Tomy probably had the best version of that, where they had two different cockpits for the chest, right? One that was the jet mode that you could see the details, and the other one that flipped over top of it, and then it was more opaque, right? So you couldn't see through. But it's not terrible. The other thing I think is that the landing gear here in the legs, right? It does cause these panel lines to show up in the alt mode, which can be a little distracting from the overall presence of the figure. But again, this is a really outstanding looking figure. Again, it's cartoon accurate. The only other complaint I think is that the wings are a little flimsy. They're just on this single pin here. So as you're manipulating it for posing and stuff, it does have a tendency for the wings to like flip out like this. But maybe this is the style of look you're going for, is that maybe you want those wings to be out like that and be a little more dynamic. For the articulation, I mean, so as I said, right, the head is on a ball joint, so it does, because of part of the transformation, it actually folds flat, so we can look straight up in the air. Maybe you want like a flying Superman pose, and it does rotate 360 degrees. It does get a slight confused head tilt look, so that's cool. The arms are on a bit of a pivot. Actually, no, sorry. I thought that they did pivot up, but they don't. So the arms only go out 90 degrees this far. There's the wings getting in the way. But they are on a ball joint. So, of course, they go 360 degrees, except the wings get in the way. So you can go back about as far as that. And you can rotate at the shoulders, of course, because it is on a ball joint, right? So you have a 360 degree rotation there as well. There's some limitation, of course, with the null rays getting in the way, because they do extend past where the shoulders are, but nothing that I would complain about. There is a elbow swivel, and there's an elbow pivot, and it goes 90 degrees. There is wrist rotation, and of course that's, I mean, it's a peg, right? So you can replace the hands with the alternate hands. Let's see what else. He does have ab rotation. Not very much, but just enough to, about a 30 degree, I think, just enough to get you that rotation that we're kind of looking for when we're posing. He does have an ab crunch around the hip skirts, not up at the waist where it actually rotates. Then we get into the legs. Let me just get the arms out of the way. So it does have hip skirts just in the front. So you want to get those out of the way when you are bringing the legs all the way forward. And then the legs do, of course, go all the way back. Again, you do need to get the wings out of the way to be able to do that, but the option is there. Legs go all the way out. And there is a thigh rotation up at the top here. It is on a mushroom peg, so you get 360 all the way around there. Knee bend 90 degrees. Again, just watch out for the wings. And there is a toe tilt, just based on the fact that this is just on a pin, so you can rotate that as far up as you want. And there is a ankle rotation in a lot, but it does not rotate out. So lots of good articulation there for any type of dynamic posing that you are looking for. Just get him standing up here so we can admire him while I'm going over the rest of the accessories. So typical with legend scale figures, that does come with alternate hands, which I haven't even actually unpegged yet, but it is just a peg, like I said. So the hands are just on a peg that push into the end of the forearm. So you would just pop these off of the plastic retainer here and push the peg in. So there is a set of pointing hands. Not painted. Again, it's just molded blue plastic, like the rest of, or most of the blue parts on the figure. And then there's a set of open hands as well, with the fingers spread, a little hollow in the center of the hands, but not a big deal. Again, not painted. And what else do we have? So then we get into all of the other extra additional accessories that he comes with, which is in the second tray. So there is this, which again I will get into in a second, but the big thing is he comes with a version of Megatron in his alt mode. Now, unfortunately, as you can see right away, I'm sure all of you are screaming at the screen right now, he doesn't have the shoulder or the bicep brace, right, that we're used to. And I'm sure that that's simply by design, because of the way that the figure is designed as well, right? Is that they couldn't get this to work with the arm, so that it fits into his hand. Because as you'll see, if it did have the shoulder brace or the arm brace, the forearm brace, that's what it is. It just pegs into his hand like that, very simple. If it had the forearm brace, it would interfere with it going into the peg in his hand, unfortunately, right? So we don't get a 100% cartoon accurate alt mode Megatron that comes with this version of Starscream, but we do get something. So again, that's always appreciated. At least they're, at least Newage is attempting to give us something to help us recreate those iconic scenes from the cartoons. I will take a closer look at this, because this is, again, it has some nice details to it. For this accessory, it is completely painted. There is like a glossy pearlescent. Actually, I want to say it's pearl. It's not really silver. It's more like a pearl paint, glossy finish, glossy black paint. Details of the silencer. There's rings here. Flash suppressor at the end. Scope, nice details again. There's actually like adjustment dials for what you would see on a scope. There's actually lines going on here at the eyesight. Again, completely painted, very nice looking alt mode. Again, it's just unfortunate that the forearm brace isn't there, but it is a nicely detailed accessory nonetheless. And then we get into some blast effects, which I always appreciate. I always appreciate blast effects, no matter which company you are. Send me those blast effects. I love them. These obviously just go on the end of the null ray, or his shoulder cannons, or whatever you want to call them. It's just a hole in the opening. It just literally plugs right in the end of the null ray shoulder cannon thingamabob, just like that. Very, very cool effect. It's completely clear translucent at the beginning, and then gets into like a shaded purple pink at the end. has a tendency to fall off because it doesn't really peg in per se. But if you give it a good push on the end of the null ray, it will not come off. But they're there. Very cool stuff. And then the final set of accessories, which I actually forgot to show off because I meant to show them off with the jet, because they're I mean, I guess it's your choice, obviously, right? Options are good, as we like to say when it comes to accessories. If I can get this thing out of the box. There we go. So these are for the jet engines, right? These are blast effects for the jet engines. I thought it was kind of weird that they're blue. I would have expected them to be yellow or orange, but they still look very nice. Again, same idea as with the null ray blast. It's a blue, light blue, or sky blue, translucent at the beginning that fades out to clear at the tips. They do have pegs in the end. If I can get the focus, there we go. They do have pegs at the end, which just go right into the engines, right, or the bottom of the feet, right. It is by the way, these things are sharp. They do hurt. So be careful with them as you are putting them in. But you can, of course, then get that effect, like in the opening scene of the original cartoon, right, when the three Seekers are coming down as they're attacking the Autobots. So you have that as well. So that's kind of neat. And of course, I think this is more versatile in jet mode, right? You put this in the back of the jet mode, but if you have a way to display him in the air flying, then obviously you can put these in there as well, and you got a nice effect on your display on your shelf to show out the figure. Speaking of ways to display him flying, let's take a look at that Space Bridge panel, because the Space Bridge panel, which very nicely stands up on its own, has a whole bunch of flight stand accessories in the back of it, as well as connector pieces for any other Seekers that you buy that come with this panel. And my understanding is, and anybody can correct me here, please leave comments down below in the video if you want to correct me, but it does come with these instructions describing how you can use the various pieces to create a flight stand, whether you have it sitting like this as a flight stand or standing up like this as a flight stand. But as you can see, the connector pieces that come with it, which are these guys here, actually let you connect the various Space Bridge walls together that come with each of the Seekers, right? And as you can see down here in this lower picture, it shows the other three Seekers, Skywarp and Thundercracker, that also come with these walls. So I'm assuming that the cone heads also come with the Space Bridge walls as well, so that you get 6 panels that you can make the entire Space Bridge, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I'm wrong. It's 12. So you probably need to buy every Seeker they have. Good job, Newage, for getting us to buy all the Seekers, because I don't want to buy all the Seekers, but there it is. And of course, this also does show that there's a Coronation kit, which I think comes in a different version of this. If you're into that, I was never into the Coronation thing. Because, like, how long did that last in the movie? That was like a 30-second scene before he was obliterated into oblivion by Galvatron. And the nice thing about this too is that all this stuff stores away in the various peg spots, right? So we can use this, right? It has 2 pivot points to be able to set this up, right? You can peg this in here. And then if you have the jet mode, there is I think you actually use the spot where the backpack plugs in, goes into here, so that you can display them in jet mode. And if you have them in robot mode, then they give you the ring. This ring right here. Come on, there it is. So they give you this ring piece. Oh, right. You have to take this top one off, right? They're just pegs. So you just take the top one off and replace it with the other one, so that you can then, and you know, this is just a claw, right? So it just opens up like this, and then you can plug this into here, and then you can put it around the waist of Starscream like that. It is just a clamp, right? And I will tell you, you do have to play with this in regards to the angles and stuff, because if you have him too far out, this will just fall over without any type of support, unfortunately. So the best way to display it when you just have one of these panels is just to use it on the floor, on the ground, right? Plug it in like this, and then you can mess around with various angles and stuff. Another quick correction, guys, because I noticed it when I was doing the editing for the video. So there is actually a peg hole in the back of the figure for this, so you don't need to use the ring like I was showing in the video. There's a peg hole right here in the middle of his backpack. I don't know why I didn't see it when I was doing the original recording. So you can use the original arm with the single peg, and obviously it just plugs right into the back like that. And then you have a flying Starscream, and you can add those blast effects into the bottom of the feet like I was mentioning earlier. Yeah, so there is this additional piece which will go into that that large peg hole at the top there. But I'll be completely honest with you, I don't, and it doesn't show you in the instructions exactly what that piece is for. Like, it does show it right here. It does show it over here. I don't know where this plugs in, because this one plugs into the bottom of the alt mode, and this one is to go around the waist when he's in robot mode. So I don't know what this is for, and if anybody wants to enlighten me and tell me what this is for, I would be greatly appreciated. But I think for most of us, we're probably going to use, I mean, if you do have an alt mode version, right, we're probably using this to display the alt mode with. And again, without the additional walls, it is kind of unstable in regards to his weight. This will just fall forward. So your best bet is just to lay it on the ground. Typically, I like positioning it that way, right? And then you just jam your flight stand in wherever you want. And that's a very stable base for him, regardless of the mode that you're attempting to use. And again, all very nicely able to, right, fold all of this stuff away. Right, if we put everything back the way that it was, like that, then this pegs in right there like that. The little guy pegs into the middle. The unknown one pegs into the middle. And then this one pegs into the bottom here. And it all tucks away very nicely, right? So when you do have the entire space bridge, or even if you wanted to use that as like a diorama, mini diorama, right, of Starscream in front of it, then you've got the display stands all tucked away. And that's really about it, guys. Again, it's a very, very nice figure. Again, a very nice rendition of a Transformers G1 character from the cartoon, from the Transformers G1 cartoon. There are no complaints from me with this figure for anything, with the minor, again, nitpicky details of the landing gear being visible within the legs. Otherwise, I mean, this is a fantastic looking figure, very nicely painted, very nicely sculpted. Head sculpt is an excellent match. You know, you got lots of nice details like the venting on the side of the head and the red eyes and the smile, right? The smirk of Starscream, whether you're looking at the one that came with it or the alternate head face sculpt that comes in the box, right? He's got even more of a smirk on this one. Anyway, that's about it, guys. I thank you very much for sticking it out with me here. Again, please, if you do like this video, please go ahead and hit the like button down below. It really does help out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. And as always, I am the Rusty Mechanic, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, just a quick follow-up to the head sculpt thing. So I don't know what I was remembering when I was describing it in the video, but you do have to take the screw out the back of the head. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but it just feels like you're just going to break the head sculpt off of the ball joint if you don't do it. So I'm just going to show very quickly what I did to do the head sculpt change for Lucifer here. Okay, so I've already done the head sculpt change. I'll bring him in just so you can see. Just give me a second, just adjusting the microphone. There we go. So now I have the more smirky face on there. But it is this screw at the top of the head sculpt that you should take out, in my opinion, just because I went off camera and I struggled with getting the head sculpt off. Again, I swear that I did it once already, but maybe I'm thinking of a different figure. I don't know. I have so many figures right now. So anyway, here is the other head sculpt, which I still have apart. So this is the screw. This is the screw. Come on, there you go. That is the screw, which I will place right here for now. And this is what it looks like when you take the two halves apart. So his eyes are in, come on, his eyes are in the back half, and then the face sculpt is the front half. So I'll just go through it quick right now just so you can see. I'll put the original head sculpt back on, but I grabbed a precision screwdriver. This is a Phillips head 0, because obviously it is a very small screw. If you have a magnetic tip, this is going to make your life a whole bunch easier, but you just want to, the screw's not in there very tight. You just want to back it off. It is pretty decent in length. Screws are exactly, don't fall over you. Don't fall over. You're making me look bad. Okay, there. Screws are the same size, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. And then you can just grab by the chin and the top of the head, and it'll just slide forward very easily like that. Now, I did take a look at these, both of these, right? So again, this is the back of the head sculpt with the eyes. They're exactly the same. So you don't even need to pop this off the ball joint if it stays there. So I'm just going to slide the other one on, and then I'm going to double check that it is the original. It is the original. And then, of course, you're just putting the screw back in. Now, this is where having a magnetic tip for your screwdriver is helpful, because this thing is so small, and getting it back into here is a bit of a struggle, because you'll guarantee just drop the screw. And anyway, so you just want to obviously put the screw back in. Doesn't have to be overly tight, just until you feel it snug. And there you go. Now I'm back to the original face sculpt. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there, that don't try to rip off the head sculpt. Take the screw out and replace it that way. It's just a lot easier. Again, I thought for sure that I had swapped it out just by pulling it off, but after trying it again, I don't think that was the case. So anyway, that's just a quick update to the head sculpt replacement. Don't rip it off. Take the screw out. Do it properly.